Is there any scenario in which the 49ers trade Jimmy Garoppolo by the deadline? Like, let's say they get blown out this weekend at home again and go on a losing streak and the season just gets bleak. Is there any not worst case, any scenario where they trade this guy before the deadline?
No. Go ahead.
No. Okay, end of story.
No, I don't
really
think so.
Okay.
Just because I don't think they're going to get enough for him to do that. I don't see a team with the way that he's playing. Where's he going to go that's going to give him more than maybe a third round pick for Garoppolo? Really, when you think about it, where's he going to go?
Oh, okay. Hold on. Since you guys all say no, let me stick with this for a second. What if he goes to New England? You don't think New England would want him?
I was going to bring that up.
I mean, would New England not offer a third for him? And would the Niners not take that if they've decided they want to move on and they have someone else that they could get at the deadline? Because some guys might be.
If they lost every game before going up to the deadline, then I would definitely entertain that. But why would if they lost 3 games in a row? I don't think New England would offer third. Knowing Belichick, he'd be like, "Hey, remember how we got a second for you? Here's a 6. Take it for you at 6th or 5th or something like that." Just because, like, if they lost 3 games in a row, that definitely means Garoppolo was a reason why they lost that game. They wasn't able just to keep him alive, and if he's not, it's because he's benched or for whatever reason. But yeah, that'd probably be the only reason why it'd probably be more than 5. Like probably what you were gonna hop on Grant, just because Belichick just knows him and he liked him and he really wanted to keep him instead of Brady. But yeah, that's honestly like the only one I can entertain. Even then, I still think it's a little bit of a tough stretch to imagine.
The only way I could see New England wanting to make that kind of a deal is if they go on a losing streak here. Otherwise, I think they really like what Cam Newton brings to the table for him with the ability to run and throw. That's something that McDaniels likes in his quarterbacks. He showed that when he was the head coach in Denver, when he brought in Tebow, that he was looking for that kind of a quarterback. And Newton's far and away better than Tebow ever was.
And then Newton's going to keep the ball more because he runs it and he will drain the clock and keep the time of possession longer, so keeping the defense a little bit more fresh, which I'm sure Belichick will appreciate more. But I'd say if they cutted ties with him, versus a trade, but at that point we're just spitballing.
I don't know. They developed Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a Patriot, and they could look at this situation and be like, well, maybe he's not being. Maybe the scheme doesn't fit him. Maybe the supporting cast doesn't fit him. Maybe Kyle Shanahan's style of coaching isn't good for him. I mean, we've seen Kyle Shanahan's very hard on coaches, on players, and it doesn't seem like Jimmy Garoppolo has the confidence he used to have. Maybe if Bill Belichick feels like, hey, if I trade for him. And if Bill Belichick says, Jimmy, you're great. Jimmy, don't worry what Kyle said. Jimmy, I think you're the best. That's the kind of coaching he needs. I don't know. I think that just because he's having a rough few games with the Niners doesn't necessarily mean that the Patriots would change their opinion of him. But maybe this is a dumb theoretical that there's a possibility the Niners would trade this guy. It just seems like, look, if they're going to move on from him at the end of the year. If like this season goes real south and they realize that there's nothing Jimmy can do and it's not going to work out for him here, then why wait? If you're like, well, we're going to cut him at the end of the year or we're going to trade him at the end of the year because we know we can move on and his contract is structured a certain way. Like, why not just do it now? Move on now. Get something from the Patriots and see what you have from other players. Maybe trade for another quarterback. It just seems like if they go on this losing streak and they've decided internally Jimmy's not the guy for us, why wait? But that's like 8 theoreticals down the line. So let's go to another theoretical.
I didn't get to talk about it.
Oh, my bad, Leo. Go ahead. My bad.
So I was going to say, before the trade deadline, absolutely not, because although Shanahan may be disappointed in Jimmy Garoppolo, that's not Shanahan's guy. This is John Lynch's guy. Yep. So John Lynch is not going to give up on Jimmy Garoppolo so soon because he's the one who looked like a genius for getting Garoppolo for only a 2nd-round pick. So John Lynch is going to try to strain any little thing out of Jimmy Garoppolo until they make that decision, and that decision is not going to come before the trade deadline, and he's going to try to get something to still look as that genius he did when he got Garoppolo.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the trade deadline is November 3rd, so they don't got a lot of time. It's not like they're going to go on an 8-game losing streak in the next 17 days. So, good point. Probably not going to happen.